Today I will be detailing how to do a presentation via Nearpod.com. Nearpod.com is exactly what was exemplified during the presentation on effective lesson planning. During part 1, we began using Nearpod. Now I'm going to go through step by step on how to use Nearpod for your classrooms if you so choose so. First thing you do is you go to the website. Then you go to sign in. You could just sign in with your Google account. As long as you're logged into your Google account, it'll automatically link in with that sign in. And what happens is it's going to prompt you to sign in this area. It's going to bring you to the next page. I'm going to go into my library. When I go to my library, I can see a couple of them that have been preloaded into here. And I could also view the one that I already made for effective lesson planning right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a presentation via Nearpod so that it can be utilized within your classrooms. The very first thing you want to do is within your library, go to New. And I'm going to choose Lesson. You could choose Folder to store extra items in there. For right now, for our purposes, I'm going to choose Lesson. And as you know, I'm using Google Chrome right now. It just happens to be the most compatible to upload your Google accounts, and it happens to work. Sometimes Internet Explorer, it doesn't work. To title your lesson, you just left click there and then title it whatever you want. So what I'm going to do as far as for titling a lesson, I'm going to title it Test. There's some things you could do with a Nearpod. If you want to add a slide, you can add a slide. Say for instance you want to add a content slide. You can add them from someplace else by dragging them in, or you can add an activity, you can add web content, only if you pay for it. For this one, I'm going to exit out of this and then go to slide. So now I'm going to go through and add content via Nearpod only. So I'm going to add content. Then I'm going to left click on slide and add a title into here. For our purposes, I'll keep it simple. Label title, label this text, and then I'll go to save. And as you notice, it shouldn't take that long to add a certain slide into there. And if you want to go through and preview that slide, you can by left clicking on preview, and it generates a preview for your presentation, which is located in a few seconds. And it says title and text. That's what's going to be shown to you and your audience when you go to portray it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a presentation from something else that I created, which was for the effective lesson planning. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on a folder area and I'm going to click and drag this in. I'm going to pause the video as it takes some time to load. You need to give your presentation time to process and load to include all the information in there. Now I'm going to show a couple different things on here. For instance, how to get a quick poll of answers from your students, participants, or even how to add a quick quiz in to get a quick understanding or gauge understanding of where students or participants are within that given presentation. So let's say I go to add slide. When I go to add slide, I'm going to add activity. When I go to add activity, I'm then going to go and left click on poll. Poll is pretty good because you can actually go through and get a quick poll of where you want your people to be in your presentation or where they are at the current stance. So for instance, do you understand a poll? And then I can answer yes or no, and then just go to save. Since it's a poll, it's for a quick understanding. There's really no right or wrong answer. Now when you go to move your slides from spot to spot, if I take this and I slide it up to here, I'm just double left clicking and sliding it wherever I need to place it within the presentation itself. And again, I'm just going to place it, and what I'll do is I'll place it right after the very first slide. It automatically right now is saving a little bit, but you have to actually go through and hit create once you are finished. But before doing that, let's go through and do this again. I'm going to add slide, and now I'm going to enter a quick activity, and now I'm going to go through and add a quiz. Now in a quiz, you will actually get right or wrong answers. So is this a right or wrong answer? quiz. Is this a right or wrong answer? I'm going to go to the first one, say yes, and the next one say no. And you left-clicked for correct answer. And I'm going to scroll down and left-click on Save. Once I left-click on Save, I'm going to let it load up, and it's going to load it at the bottom of the quiz, or bottom of the presentation. Now I'm going to take this and slide it up to an area. That way when I go to show the presentation, we can go through it pretty quickly and show how to use a poll and how to use a quiz. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to hit Create on this presentation for test 2. And it'll take a couple seconds to do, so I'm going to pause the video so we can move on. Now we're at the very last step. I'm going to left click on this right here. It's called Test 2. And you can do one of two things. You can make it student paced, where they go through and pace through the lesson, or you make it live. When you make it live, this enables you, the teacher or presenter, to control the pace of the lesson. So if I left click on the live lesson, for instance, it's going to be prompt to share a pin with your audience. You can do one of two things. You can share a link, just as you can in Google as far as sharing docs and generate a link. You could share it with the Google Classroom, or you could simply share a pin. What I like to do is when I give this to an audience is I like to share the pin with my audience. So when I share the pin with my audience, all I have to do is type it in. My second best choice is my link. Because I could show more with this, for this purpose, I'm going to choose the link. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control-C for this link so I can share that with my audience. And once I go to that, I'm going to go to Email. And right to here, I'm going to type in an email, for instance. Once the email was generated and sent out to the participant, all I have to do is wait for that participant to go into their email and then click on the lesson to log into the lesson. So right now I'm on a separate computer and I'm waiting for the participant to join into the presentation via the link that was sent to them to their Google Gmail. And right now that participant is labeling their name, and I'll put it as a test name. And the person that's on that end is going to go and sign in to it simply by clicking on the link and putting in their name. Now if I go up to here and I click on my participant, it says test name. I'm going to go to X for remove. Now as I navigate through this lesson, if I scroll 1, 2, and then it goes to my poll. What I'm going to do very quickly on the other end or other computer, it says, do you understand a poll? I'm clicking on the other computer saying yes. And when I click there as far as for yes on that computer, and then I click send on the opposite or opposing computer, what you'll notice is that the answer populates automatically on your screen as far as a teacher screen, not on the participant or student's screen. I'm going to go to the next slide over, objective, and is this a right or wrong answer? Now this is the one where I went through and I said, for instance, this is more so the quiz. So I'm going to go, let's just say yes, on the opposite computer, and I choose send. It says 100% of the people over here answered it correctly, which means there was a right or wrong answer with this. The person chose right, which was the answer A, or yes. And right now on my side, as the teacher side, I'm just simply either clicking on this, or I can hit right click, and I have complete control of the presentation as far as the students or participants have in front of them. If you have any questions or concerns or comments related to using Nearpod in your class, please feel free to email me at the email that's generated right above being typed on the screen at any time in regards to this presentation. I hope that you found this useful and have a great day.